Alright folks, here we go. We're resuming our drive northwards. I had pulled over to a rest station at Bukit, Gantang. This is one of my favorite rest stations along the North-South highway. It's located in a rural area, but I think that around the surrounding areas they have a fair number of fruit farms. Because like this rest station is famous for the variety of local fruit that is available here, and I bought myself some seedless guava with no seeds, which are grown in farms locally here. Really good, lovely tasting stuff. And I also got myself a bag of hot steamed salted peanuts, because it's drizzling at night. It's cool and cold and wet outside there. It's nothing like having some hot food. Just a snack. And then now let's resume the drive homewards. We are about an hour or an hour and a half from home. About half an hour or so we'll be on the main highway again, so you'll see rather dark video with the sky being like totally black, probably because there are clouds, and so there's no moonlight or anything. And then when we exit this highway system, we'll get into what locally are called the old roads. In other words, the non-highway system going through small towns and villages. So you'll see the local towns, villages, and there should be street lights and stuff. So it might be a little bit more to see, but this video is like not so much. This video is not so much about the scenic drive anymore, because it's night, but it just give you an idea what it's like. Driving conditions in the night in Malaysia, and it rains frequently here. It's raining lightly now. It might get heavy a bit later on, who knows. So anyway, this is typical driving in Malaysia along the highway. Crazy people driving on highways. So here I am trying to reach my destination safely. Trying. And I think I'm a decent, careful driver. So if you find this driving video like scary or something like that, don't ever drive in Malaysia. The sky is dark. We are driving through, the highway cuts through various kinds of areas. Some of these areas jungle, some of this is like oil palm plantations, basically not city areas, so there won't be street lights and stuff, and the sky will be dark. Right now there are street lights on the sides because we're just exiting a rest station area, and probably approaching some kind of intersection, and then later it'll just turn dark here. And you'll only be able to see the road and maybe the tail lights of the vehicles in front. Wondering what speed I'm doing now. I'm at about 110 kilometers an hour. The trucks on my left are probably doing 80 or 90, very decent of them, because there are some truckers who will try to even do 100 or 110. I think there are some bus drivers who will try to, do the same speeds as the cars are doing, even though all of these vehicles, trucks and buses, they are only allowed to travel on 80 or 90 kilometers an hour, and some of them are only allowed to do 70 kilometers an hour highway system. So if you're driving, you have to be really careful. You see a truck lights in the distance and you can't estimate his speed. And if you're driving too fast, if you happen to be in his lane or something like that, he might be traveling slow, that by the time you realize he's slow, you have to hit the brakes hard. That's dangerous. So, it's another reason not to drive too fast, yeah. So traffic has slowed, but when traffic is slow, it's just that you tend to get impatient, yeah. But on the highway, and in the night, when the traffic is slow, you just still maintain your distance on the guy in front of you, and go along with the flow, because slow is actually safer, yeah. Some of the newer cars, they have this feature where the car's information display doesn't come on a display board, but it's actually just sort of like displayed onto your windscreen. Yeah? So you don't have to look down and look up. You can still look at the road and see the information display, whereas in a conventional car like I'm driving now, when I want to see what speed I am actually running at, or if I want to have a look at the petrol gauge and indicators and stuff like that, I need to look down. And look at this guy, he took me on basically the wrong side, overtook me, and then now he had to hit the bloody brakes because the guy in front is driving slow, and that's why I am also slow, because I'm just waiting for an opportunity to safely overtake him. But I dislike overtaking people on the wrong side, so I'm just waiting for him to give me way. But he's done whatever he has to do at slow speed on the so-called master lane. There are so many people who are totally impatient with this, and they'll either come really close to your tail, try to intimidate you, flash your lights, and then make you leave that lane. I would call it, you can call it the fast lane, but there's a bloody speed limit here. So you can be fast, but within that speed limit. So when I'm wanting to drive, let's say at 110, and I'm following some guy who is in this lane, but he's only doing 100, I have to wait patiently for him to, leave that lane. Before then, I can proceed at 100. But what these guys do, like they will come up to close to your rear, while you are waiting for the road ahead to be clearer, and they'll try to intimidate you so that you leave the fast lane, you move into the slow lane, and then they've overtaken you, then they'll intimidate the next guy and the next guy. They keep trying to leapfrog over cars by intimidating that. But once you start giving way to these people, then that will further encourage such behavior here. So I've now made it a policy not to bother here. The guy can do all he wants, flash lights at me or whatever, but if I am on this lane because I'm waiting for the road to be clear in front of me so that I can move faster, and I'm not going to give way to somebody. And these guys, just by reflex, they'll then try to overtake you on your wrong side. In other words, in Malaysia, like this, we're driving, overtake from the left and then cut it onto the right. And then, if the guy in front there is still driving slow, they know better off here. And if they try to overtake you from the left and there's not enough space for them to cut in, they might just end up ramming into some truck that's moving slower than they expected on the left lane. Oh, why all that stupidity here? And then, it's raining now, there's a drizzle, roads are wet, roads are slippery. Sometimes visibility is not good, but there is no sort of limit how stupid some people can be here. And the scary thing is a lot of stupid people are driving expensive vehicles. God, I think for things like road traffic violations, like parking violations and stuff like that, then okay, you just issue some tickets and fines for people. For certain other things like speeding, depending on the speed, the amount of violation. Let's say, for example, if the limit here is 110, somebody is driving at 125 or so, we give him a ticket, for slightly exceeding the speed limit. But if he's driving at 200, if he's driving at bloody 200 and 110, so he's not just speeding, he's endangering everybody else on the road. Not only him, for such situations, I think a speeding ticket is just ridiculous. You just throw the guy in jail for a couple of days, minimum, just let him sort of speed drive in jail for a couple of days, and then that's it. Let him out, and if he does that again for the same thing, then you just put him in for a couple of months. But I think just once somebody is thrown in jail for speeding, so you throw him in jail for even a day or two, and that's it. Then I've learned the lesson. And then for other things like dangerous driving, blatant dangerous driving, overtaking vehicles on the left, then cutting in and out of traffic. Yeah, they should just be like straightforward imprisonment sentences and completely revoking their driving license for like 5 years or something like that. Let them bloody well walk to wherever they want to go or take a bus. I bet you just implement those kind of laws and people will start paying a little bit more observance to the driving laws and also to the way that they drive. Well, when I was young, I used to love to speed as well. Confess, and I had a few tickets issued to me. But looking back on it, like I was doing it because I could get away with it. That was it. There was a thrill of driving fast, but I could get away with it. Then somewhere along the line later, maybe as I grew older, or now I'm a little bit more sensible. I tend to drive more defensively. Still, I'm not like a slow driver. You can still see me overtaking cars and stuff like that. But I try to drive within certain speed limit things. Sound of a squealing that's it. That's the wiper. Yes, it's the windshield. The wipers are on auto mode, so there is something that they are reading that tells them that they need to start working. It's not just the fact that it's raining, but I think there's a sensor in some place that senses that water is pooling there, and so then it thinks, so it must be raining, so it will trigger the windshield wipers, and their speed will vary according to however they are triggered. Occasionally the rain itself may have stopped, but there could be still water in on the outside of the car and in the little irrigation channels that are flowing away from the windshield. So maybe they trigger the sensors and the wiper still keeps working. But having said which, still, it's a marvel for, to be driving, one of these modern cars. I mean, like when I first started driving, it's like cars. There were no automatic drive cars even. Everything was like, hand gears and stuff. And I started off driving a car with my dad's car, and the gear shift lever was beside the steering wheel. Not even on the side floor, so to speak. And then you had to be really well coordinated with using the clutch and shifting gears, otherwise it cause a horrible grating mesh. Now what the hell, I didn't want to overtake this guy. I wanted to go into the slower lane, but that guy has moved from this lane into the so-called faster lane, and he's driving slow. I actually sort of like just wanted to drive in a relaxed way, so I decided to go into this truck lane. We should be moving slower, and then my car radar tracker will track the vehicle speed in front and then just maintain an appropriate following speed. So this is how it should be. This lane is slow, guys on the other lane, on the fast lane. I had to stay on the slow lane, slow and steady. And it's much less stressful to drive on the slow lane though. You put your car's radar tracker on, it tracks the vehicle speed in front, keeps a fair distance from it. Right now we are just doing 87 kilometers an hour, which is slow, but my stress levels are so much reduced because driving in this lane in this condition is like totally relaxed. Yeah, I'm not having to watch out to overtake anybody or anything. But if I try to go onto the right lane, which is the so-called fast lane, then it's very, very stressful because I have to continually keep monitoring the vehicles behind me to see if anybody wants me to give way to them, and then some vehicles on the slow lane might cut into the fast lane, and it's all happening at a faster speed. So stress and aggravation. Now I just follow the trucks here, and the truck has decided to go slightly faster. It's about 90, that's all. So we're good. We're good. And this will just mean that it takes me some minutes extra to reach wherever I want to go, but I'm okay. It's a good trade-off. So when I'm driving long distances on the highway, occasionally I do this, just pull into this lane and excuse me, and then I'm relaxed. I'm mentally relaxed, just driving slow. And if I needed to grab a little bit of water from my water bottle that I have, now would be the time to do it, because it's pretty safe. And if the vehicle in front, that truck, decides to brake suddenly or something, my radar tracker would sense it and it would brake as well. But it's unlikely that I would need to do any swerving to avoid other people swerving into my lane, so to speak. So here we go. So anyway, since I did mention that, then maybe it's time to crack a peanut. Crack a peanut. Let's see. Look on the road, reach with my hand, try to feel. Yep, I can feel the bag, found a nut, old steering wheel, old peanut. Try to press squeeze in here. Found the peanut. Now, snack. Yeah. That seems okay. Quite nice. The only downside to it is that I'm not driving fast. So some people have this obsession about driving fast, because they need to get somewhere in a hurry. And then when they reach that somewhere that they are hurrying to reach to, they do absolutely nothing, or they achieve absolutely nothing, because they've burnt out all of their mental energy, stressing themselves out, trying to hurry to the destination. Then when they reach there, when they're supposed to do a job or do something, they're inefficient at it because now they're mentally tired already. So if you really needed to go somewhere, like in a hurry all the time, and you're dashing, like you're some big corporate executive or something like that, hire a bloody driver, let him do the driving, then you can work on your laptop in the car while that driver is driving, so you can be cool. Or get a jet airplane. Or just wake up a bit earlier, or leave the pub a bit earlier the previous night, so sleep extra, and then you just leave it earlier. Leave for your destination 1 hour ahead of whatever time you were going to drive off in a hurry, and then you've got 1 hour to just drive and 1 hour extra to drive in a relaxedly. I'm just saying all of that because I'm not in a hurry today. What a hypocrite I am. But still, it's a fair point. Look at me, I'm just following the truck. Yeah. If ever there was a dumb way to drive, this is it now. We are doing 75 kilometers an hour. I'm not bothered, we're still moving. We're still moving. I could have pulled over to the side and just sat 5 minutes and had a bag of peanuts, but here I am enjoying some peanuts while I'm following this truck, and my car is following at a safe distance, and the radar is helping keep me safe. Yeah, I'm still looking, so if something goes wrong I can still slam on the brakes, but it's nice to know I've got a radar assistant. I meet many people who actually have vehicles that do have this radar assist driving feature, but they've never used it, yeah, or they think that it's a dangerous thing. Bloody hell, it's something that's supposed to help you. Of course, you don't just leave it on and then shut your eyes and drive. You still drive like you're driving, so to speak, but that guy is going to help control your speed, yeah. It won't exceed the speed that you set. And then if some vehicle in front cuts into your path, or somebody in front, the vehicle in front slams on their brakes, then the radar tracker will see it, and if you realize the situation, you can just slam on the brakes, but chances are the radar assistant would have caught that situation before you did and start braking the car 1 or 2 seconds before you would have reacted, and those are the 1 or 2 seconds that could save lives, yeah. Yours as well as other people who might be in the car with you. Because like if you're driving at, let's say you're driving at 100 kilometers an hour, or let's think of 60 kilometers an hour. So what the hell is going to happen in there? Yeah? So every minute you're moving 1 kilometer, and there are 60 seconds in that minute. So every 6 seconds you're moving 1/10 of a kilometer, which is 100 meters. So every 6 seconds you're moving 100 meters here. So every 3 seconds you're moving 50 meters. So and every 1.5 seconds you're 25 meters. But if your radar tracker is saving you, let's say 2 seconds, if it's saving you 3 seconds, it saved you 50 meters of reaction time, and then if you're driving at 60 in 3 seconds, in 60 meters, for example, you could have brought your car to a very slow speed, so that even if there's a collision, you are facing a collision with very slow speeds, or maybe you could have even come to a complete stop, yeah. Because remember, let's say if you are like 50 meters behind some vehicle, and that guy slams the brakes or whatever, let's say you're a certain distance behind a vehicle in front of you, and you've got like a 50 meter reaction time or reaction saving thing. But in that 2 or 3 seconds that it takes, that you have saved, your car would have slowed down to a fair amount, yeah? And of course, the collision is not going to happen in the 2 or 3 seconds. It will happen a little bit after that because the vehicle that abruptly started braking or slowing down is still moving forward, albeit at a much slower rate. So the whole scenario might play out over the course of 100 meters or 150 meters. So that initial 3 seconds that it saved, oh God, it becomes so important, And what if your mind was adrift? Then we're not even talking about 3 second or 2 second reaction time. It might be like 6 second reaction time. Bloody hell, yeah. In which case, that if your radar assist started slamming on the brakes 6 seconds before you would have done it, that probably saves you the whole collision. So if you have a car which has got this feature, just learn how to bloody well use it, yeah. And then you use it judiciously. Like I say, don't rely on that thing to be doing all of your driving and braking, or you just have that like a background help. So in case you missed a reaction you should have reacted, that thing might help you. Learn how to do it, and learn its limitations. Usually it's only will track the vehicle that is directly in front of you. In other words, you are facing the center of the rear of the vehicle, the midpoint. It's not going to react if it's just an edge of a vehicle in your way or something like that. So you still got to keep yourself alert. Yeah, there needs to be a fair bit of that vehicle in your path, because like your car emits a radar signal ping, and then that thing has to bounce back, and your car has to realize that, oh, this is happening too quickly, that vehicle is too near. Yeah. Okay. Alright, I've almost built up the energy to move into the other lane, but hey, I'm enjoying this. Look at that, I'm enjoying this, this slow drive thingy. Now I want to move into the other lane, but I'm going to look in my side view mirror, rear view mirror, to see, look for oncoming cars. Very difficult to estimate distances and stuff. All you do, you can just see lights, and various kinds of glare. I see some glare on my right, must be some truck. Ooh. I hear humming, whining of wheels. Yes, there is a big wheel truck. Ooh. Right. Wow. Carry on, bro. Safe journeys to you. Then there's, I see more lights, many more lights. Rear view mirror, and so there must be more cars, and I see more of them, And some people will try to estimate the distance those vehicles are from them, and they can just cut in easily, but it's quite tricky doing that, so I tend to just give a bit more leeway. And now here I am in the lane, and then set my radar to track that guy in front of me up to 110. We're still at 100. So again, see, immediately it's so much more stressful being on this lane, even though I'm moving faster, and faster is good in the sense that I'll reach home quicker, but I've got to work harder now to be in this lane. Like, that's when I was in the slow lane, there was like practically no brain work going on here, just staying awake, that's all. Now, vehicle in front sights and occasional glance. Rear view mirror is anybody close to me or tailgating me. Side view mirror. What is it like? Try to estimate what's happening in front. Here's another rest station. This is the Bukit rest station area. They've got a lovely little lake somewhere there. Road is a bit wet. Just touch the brakes, try to get the car to be a bit slower, but what's the problem with being on this lane? You're sort of like committing yourself to driving faster than those who go on the left lane. So when it's rainy and the road is slippery, faster may not be safe. So then if you slow down on this lane, some other person behind you feels that he can drive fast and be on this lane, then you're slowing him down, so it's not fair to him, assuming that all of this is within a limit of the speed limit of the highway, which is 110 here. So like I am right now, we're just moving at about 100, but what I mean is if I were driving on this lane and it's raining and I'm not comfortable with the situation, then I can't slow down on this lane below 110 and then maintain that if there are vehicles behind me. Right now I'm just looking and there are no vehicles behind me because everybody is driving a bit slower because of the weather, and we have moved up to 110 plus now. But if I was not able to maintain that 110 and there were people behind me, then I just had to move into the slower lane. It was like, hey, the guy may be having like one of those expensive Beamers or, a car that could do that speed safely. exiting this highway system in a small town called Jawi. And then we'll head towards Fulham on the old trunk road. Yeah, that's like the North-South main road that was in existence before this highway was built. So when this highway was built, people were like, oh wow, now driving right up and down the peninsula is going to be so much more easy and convenient. And yes, truth it is. What it also did was it cut off the traffic from going through all the towns along the way, and there were so many of these towns that were lovely places to stop and have a meal, and different towns had different cuisine. Because like a lot of different communities that had come in to settle in Malaysia, and within these communities there were people from different parts of their ancestral homeland. Like for example, if you talk about Chinese immigrants into Malaya, as it was then called, they didn't all just come from one part of China. So some people who were from a certain province in China came to work in one particular state, and they would like bring in their relatives and friends from their villages. Hey, let's go over there as well. So like it was like people from one area coming in and working in one particular area in Malaysia. So we have certain towns which had a lot of Cantonese Chinese, and certain towns or cities which had a lot of Hokkien Chinese, certain towns which had Teochew Chinese, and so on. So as the settlements grew and then became cities, so the cuisine in these different towns is a different kind of a cuisine. Yeah. So like for example in Penang there are a lot of these Hokkien Chinese. In Ipoh a lot of Cantonese style Cantonese Chinese. So the cuisine there is different. So when you're driving up and down along the old road system, you stop at every town and there'll be different kinds of food. Yeah. So if you felt like eating South Indian today, South Indian banana leaf rice, you knew which towns to stop at, and you time your journey so that you stop at that town and you go to a famous a restaurant that was famous throughout the whole country, and you'd have South Indian food. And likewise, if you wanted to have a Cantonese, Chinese Cantonese meal, you time your journey so you went through a town which had that particular kind of food, or which was famous for it. And there were so many small restaurants or street vendors who made excellent cheap food, and they became popular and famous throughout the country. So lots and lots of those who were driving, would stop at these places, have a meal, then continue the drive for a few hours, and then have another meal. And the journeys used to take much longer because there wasn't this highway system. So a typical journey driving from Kuala Lumpur to Penang might take about 8 hours or so during the day, but people didn't really mind, because there was no choice, there was no alternative route. But since they knew they were going to be driving for 8 hours, and they leave, say, after a simple breakfast, just in time to be able to reach some other town along the way where they knew there's going to be great breakfast, so they'll have that great breakfast 2 or 3 hours into their journey. And then onwards, again northwards, and then 3 hours later some other place for a nice lunch snack or lunch meal, and then later drive on for another meal. So it was like fantastic, yeah. And all of these little towns, they had all these little coffee shops and stuff like that, and restaurants, and they were all getting prosperous. And when they built the highway, they cut everything off. So a lot of these small businesses and restaurants and the small towns, they lost a tremendous amount of business from all these travelers. And what we have now are just these rest areas along the highway where there are some stalls, but they're all controlled by the conglomerate that built this highway. So none of the so-called famous stalls from the old towns here. So you just get average-ish food, yeah, along the highway. And once in a while, if you're an older driver, then you get a bit nostalgic about the old road and the old places, and then you might take a drive along the old road and try to look for all those famous restaurants. But in a lot of the small towns, those restaurants may have closed, or they've lost most of their clientele. And so maybe if they are still surviving, the older generation who was running the restaurants may have passed the business on to the younger generation, and if they are still surviving but they're just catering for the local people there, the heydays are gone for those places. And some of the towns just practically die off, or they remain there but they're just a pale shadow of what they used to be. So this is the price of progress. Okay, this is our turn off. Leave the highway system. Enter the old road system, and then I prefer to drive along the older roads in the night or during weather like this, because it's just too stressful being on the highway at night, and drizzly weather with road glare and stupid drivers all over the place and Sungai Bakap, Jawi and Sungai Bakap now. This town of Sungai Bakap, small place, small town, but it's famous for, or it used to be famous for, a Chinese soup dish called Bakute. It's a pork-based soup thing, and there used to be quite a few late-night restaurants here that catered, for either people passing through or even some locals who were into that. But there are some places probably still now, but they are just catering for the locals. And now that I mentioned Bakute, I've got to just keep an eye out. Who knows? There might be a Bakute place open here. And as I keep saying, you don't diet when you are driving in Malaysia. Oops. Just keep snacking. Traffic lights, and this is the traffic light, the road that we're going into. That's the old North-South main road, or what we call the trunk road. So to the right is north, heading towards Penang and Butterworth, and to the left it's south again, heading back towards Kuala Lumpur. Accelerated, and the phone just nominally kept on a kind of a mount. It's upside down, but I've structured the cable so that the phone will fall easily to my side, and I've just nominally placed it on, and chances are the video is still running. Crazy about this DIY thingy, so I had to do something that allowed me to take videos, but easily, unsafely. We did all of that while keeping my eye on the road. That's not too bad. I've got no idea if the phone is still recording right or at the right angle, but that would be a matter for I've managed to, when I've reached home or when I've pulled over somewhere, if I find a Bakute cafe or open. Oops. Right folks, we are approaching the town. This is Jawi, which is like a suburb of another town called Sungai Bakap. And Jawi, what's Jawi famous for? Oh, it's okay. As far as I'm concerned, it's famous for being on the way to Sungai Bakap, which is famous for Bakute, or being on the way to Butterworth, which is famous for being on the way to Penang. A while where the traffic light. Just try to see if I can get the camera to be a bit centered. So that the phone just sort of like flipped over and fell because I'm not like fixing it to the floor or anything. I just got minimal amount of non-slip silicone below it, keeping the foam on a light kind of thingy while I work out a proper place to place it. Once I'm happy about the placement location, then I'll sort of like make a more permanent kind of place to keep it in place, and then I should be able to withstand sudden braking or acceleration. So for now, it just has to keep falling back towards me, and it's surrounded by a lot of soft foam, so should be reasonably safe from damage. It's like a USB cable holding it, so if I brake suddenly, it won't fly forward. There's not enough cable length for it to fly forward and then hit the windscreen. Oh, I hope. Oh well. We have wipers squealing again. What's the time now? 9 o'clock. Okay, so if I just drive on, then I should be home by about 9:45 or so. I decide to take a break and things fall down, so it just means that I didn't mount it securely enough, or something has slipped, and I am in no mood to shift things. Gotta take a break. Usually take the break. I'm looking for a bloody place to have Bakute. Lights are red. I'm going to change my phone mount position, guys. See me a minute.